I was about to sell the house my grandmother left me when I first heard the voice in the attic. It was the kind of whisper that doesn't come from any mouth, like it had been sitting in the air for years, waiting for someone to finally notice. I had just started packing up the last of her things when I heard it. At first, I thought it was the wind pushing through the old boards. But then it said my name. Not shouted, not even spoken clearly. Just breathed, almost too faint to believe. I froze, hands buried in a box of old clothes. My heart slammed against my chest like it was trying to escape. I waited, hoping it was my imagination. But it came again, closer this time. I didn't go upstairs that night. I stayed in my car, engine running, watching the dark windows of that house like they might blink back at me. I told myself I was tired, grieving, hearing things. But when I finally went back inside the next morning, something was off. Every single photograph in the living room had been turned to face the wall. There were dozens of them. Family portraits, vacation snapshots, even a few of me as a child, sitting on my grandmother's lap, all reversed, silently protesting my presence. I tried to laugh it off. Maybe an animal got inside. Maybe I did it and forgot. But when I reached for the photo of my grandmother, I saw something carved into the wood frame. 2 words, freshly etched. Help me. I stood there staring at the carved words for what felt like an hour. The grooves in the frame were deep, jagged, like they'd been made in a hurry. I ran my finger over them. The wood was still rough, like the scratches were fresh. But I was alone. The house had been locked all night. No broken windows, no signs of entry. Just me and that voice. I tried to call someone, my sister, a friend, anyone who'd listen. But my phone wouldn't turn on. It had full battery when I got into the house. Now nothing. I plugged it into the wall, and it flickered once before dying completely. I felt the air change then, like the house had exhaled, that kind of deep, old silence that feels full of something you can't see. I told myself I was just shaken, that I needed to finish packing, sell the house, and leave. I kept repeating it like a prayer. But every room I entered felt colder than the last. And every mirror I passed, there were many in this house, old and tarnished, seemed to reflect something just a little too slow, like my reflection was lagging behind. When I went upstairs that evening, the attic door was open. It had been locked shut for years. My grandmother used to say it was unsafe up there, that the floorboards were rotten. I remember being a kid and asking her what was inside. She always told me, just memories best left alone. But now, the lock lay broken on the floor, the door slightly ajar. And that voice again, Eli, please. It wasn't threatening. It sounded desperate, like someone who had been crying for a long, long time. I climbed the narrow stairs slowly, each step creaking louder than the last. The attic was dark except for a single beam of light cutting through a cracked window. Dust floated through it like falling ash. The room was nearly empty, except for a mirror propped against the far wall. But not just any mirror. It was ornate, heavy-looking, with a gold frame that had long since faded to brown. I'd never seen it before. The second I looked into it, I felt something wrong. My reflection didn't move. I tilted my head. It stared straight ahead. I stepped closer. It didn't blink. And then slowly it smiled. I didn't, but it did. The skin around its mouth stretched too far, showing teeth that were just a little too long. I stumbled back, heart hammering in my chest. And then the reflection whispered, "You found me." I turned and ran. Down the stairs, through the hallway, straight to the front door. But it wouldn't open. I pulled at the knob with both hands, slammed my shoulder against it. Even tried kicking it. Nothing. It was like the house had swallowed it whole. I backed away, shaking, until I noticed something on the floor. Footprints. Bare, small, wet footprints leading away from the door, heading toward the kitchen. I followed them, every instinct in my body screaming not to. But I had to know. I had to understand what was happening. In the kitchen, the air was freezing. My breath came out in clouds. The footprints ended in front of the refrigerator. Taped to the door was an old photograph I'd never seen before. It was me, as a child, standing in the attic, smiling. I didn't remember that photo being taken. I didn't remember ever going into the attic as a kid. But there I was, grinning up at the camera, and behind me, barely visible in the shadows, was a figure. Long hair, pale skin, black, hollow eyes, watching me. I tore the photo off the fridge and backed away, trying to make sense of what I was seeing. That's when the lights flickered. Once, twice. Then all at once, the power died. The house fell into thick, suffocating darkness. And from upstairs, the sound of footsteps began. Slow, heavy, deliberate. I grabbed the flashlight from my bag and aimed it at the stairs. The beam trembled in my shaking hand. The footsteps stopped halfway down. I couldn't see anything, but I could feel it. Something was watching me from just out of sight. Then, in the silence, I heard a voice I hadn't heard in years. "Eli, baby, are you home?" It was my grandmother's voice. I froze. She'd been dead for 6 months. I buried her. I gave the eulogy. But her voice was unmistakable. Warm, gentle, trembling with worry. I wanted to believe it. I wanted so badly to run up those stairs and see her again. But something was wrong. She was calling from the attic, and she never wanted me in that room. Then she said something that made my blood run cold. "Don't let her out." I dropped the flashlight. It rolled across the floor, casting spinning shadows against the walls. When I picked it up again, something moved behind me, just a blur in the corner of my vision, like someone ducking behind a wall. I spun around, shining the light in every direction. Nothing. I turned back toward the stairs, but now something was written on the wall in red. I hadn't heard anyone write it. I didn't smell paint, but it was there. "You open the door." I didn't know what it meant. I hadn't touched anything. I hadn't let anything out, at least I didn't think I had. But the air had changed again. The house no longer felt haunted. It felt angry. I ran upstairs, shouting for my grandmother, hoping, insanely, that maybe she was somehow still alive. I found the attic door closed again, this time locked. But from the other side, I heard sobbing. Soft, broken sobbing. And behind it, another whisper. This one unfamiliar. "She's not your grandmother anymore." I fell back, heart pounding, and stumbled into the bathroom across the hall. I splashed water on my face, looked in the mirror, and the reflection smiled again. But this time it wasn't just smiling. It reached out from inside the mirror, its hand pressed against the glass, leaving frost where its fingers touched. My breath caught in my throat. Then it mouthed the words, "Let me in."